Welcome to the Exchange training tutorial on creating animations with Adobe Edge Animate. As you might be aware, when you use Adobe Edge Animate, it creates animations with HTML5, CSS3 and jQuery web standards, meaning the animations you create are going to work across all different browsers and all different devices. And it will work in the future as well. So let's create a new document. I'm just going to click on Create New on the welcome screen to create a new document in here. At the moment, I'm not going to worry about the dimensions because we got some images here. We're going to create a web banner as an example. So what I'm going to do is just save the document straight away. So I'll go to File, Save As. I'll save it on the desktop because I've got some images on the desktop. So on the desktop, I'm just going to save it as web banner. And I'll save that. Okay. And I'm going to import the first image, and then we're going to make the web banner the same dimension because the images have already been correctly sized in Photoshop. So go to File, Import. Okay, we'll import the first image. So on the desktop, I've got this images folder in here. I'm going to import this image first. Okay. Edge will place it in the top left corner of the document by default, so it'll be here. Now, the image should be selected automatically. But if it's not, if you just click on the image to select it, have a look in the Properties panel on the left-hand side. Just make this panel a bit wider, and check width and height under position and size. So this is 900 by 246. So I'm going to click away to deselect the image, because when you deselect the image, you can see the properties of your document. So I'm going to set the width to 900 and height to 246. We'll give a title to our document as well. So this would be, say, Adobe Creative Cloud Web Banner. This title will appear on the top of the browser window or on the top of the browser tab, depends on the browser. If you're bringing these animations into InDesign for digital publishing, you don't have to worry about the title. So we've got a stage size, width and height. That's the background color in here. In this case, we're not going to worry about it, but if you wanted to change the background color, you just click on the color swatch and pick a color that you want to use. Also, as you work on the banner, if you want to make it responsive, so it's going to scale on different devices, you can just take responsive scaling. We'll leave it as a width for now, so it's going to resize proportionally, going the width. And if you're designing something in Edge that's going to run on its own in a browser window, you can also center it. You can center the stage, so it will appear in the center of the browser window, but we'll leave it for now in here at the moment. So this is our first image. It will appear in the library panel here as well as the Edge banner. So if we click on it to select it, let's make it appear, let's make it fade in, one of the most popular effects for animations. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click the image selected. In the Properties panel, here on the top, you've got your opacity, and there's a slider in here which says the opacity of the image. So if we take this slider all the way down to 0, so the image will disappear. So it's like this. And then we're going to click on this little diamond shape to add a keyframe for opacity. Because when you're animating, you need to add some keyframes. So in this case, we'll add a keyframe in here. We'll keep opacity 0%. It doesn't matter whether you reduce the opacity first or you add a keyframe first. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Now in the timeline at the bottom of the screen, it's going to make it a bit taller. You'll see the layer you're working on, and you'll see this playhead in here at the beginning. Excuse me. And that's a keyframe in here as well. We're going to have this image appear, fade in, and we'll give it, say, 1 second to fade in. So here in the timeline, we'll move this playhead to 1 second. Here you go. So it's 1 second in here. And then back to the Properties panel with the image selected, we'll change the opacity back to 100%. Once you change the property, you see the color bar in here, which represents the animation or transition. And if you move the playhead, the image will fade in, just like that. Okay. We'll make the images crossfade. So let's move the playhead to 2 seconds. We'll keep the image as it is, but just so we have the transition going across the timeline, and just so we don't lose the image, we're going to change the opacity just a little bit to 99-98%. So the image is slightly semi-transparent, but you can't tell the difference anyway, because this will add a keyframe as well. And then 1 more second later, so move the playhead to 3 seconds, we'll change the opacity to 0%. So that's what's happening here. If we rewind back to the beginning, we'll click the play button, the image will fade in, stay, and fade out. Let's do one more, and let's make them crossfade. So let's position the playhead, say maybe about here, just after 2 seconds. Let's import the second image. File, import, we'll import another image. It will appear in the same place, that's okay, we'll leave it as it is. In the properties panel, we'll lower the opacity to 0, and we'll add a keyframe. Okay. Now in the timeline, we'll move the playhead by 1 second, so the animation will run at the same timing. So let's go in here, and I will change the opacity to 100%. Okay. Move the playhead by another second, and then reduce the opacity just a little bit to 99%, and then move the playhead by 1 more second, and change opacity back to 0. So let's see what we've got. Let's rewind back, let's play it. The first one comes in, fades out, and the next one comes in and fades out. Okay, let's play it again. And Dreamer comes in. Okay. Let's do one more. So we'll place the playhead after the third keyframe, somewhere around here. We'll import one more image. With the image selected, drop the opacity to 0%. Click on the keyframe icon. Move the playhead by 1 second. Increase opacity to 100%. Move playhead by another second. And change the opacity just a tiny bit to 99%. And then move the playhead by 1 more second. And drop the opacity to 0. And let's play it from the beginning. There's a crossfade effect in here. And they fade in and fade out. Okay. Now let's publish it. I'm just going to save it first. File, save. Let's go to File, Publish Settings. And there are 3 ways you can publish. In this case, we're interested in web publish, so exporting for the web. We could also export as Animate deployment package. Okay, but for now, we'll just focus on the web. This will work with anything, any piece of software. You could upload it to the web browser straight away, or you could give it to anyone and a web designer, and it would upload it to the web straight away. By default, Edge will create a folder called Publish inside your project folder, and we'll create a subfolder called Web. And I will create all these different folders for different content. Host runtime files and Adobe CDN, yes, let's leave it as it is. And despite what most people are thinking, we're not going to click on save, no, we're going to publish. So we're going to click on this publish in here. So click on the publish button. When the dialog box disappears, it's finished. So just to double check, I'm just going to open the desktop. There's my web banner folder, publish subfolder, web subfolder here, and this is our web content. If I open this in a web browser, our web banner is scaling. So if I move it, it's scaling up and down, okay, and it's fading in and fading out. That's the basics of creating animations with Adobe Edge Animate CC.